Peace to everyone, and welcome to the premiere of a brand new foundational series, The 10 Commandments. Over the next 10 episodes, we are stripping away centuries of dry legalism to investigate the ancient covenant constitution given at Mount Sinai. We aren't just reading these as rules written on stone. We are analyzing their deep historical gravity and exploring how every single one of them finds its ultimate explosive fulfillment in the person of Jesus Christ. And it all begins with the first absolute boundary line of reality. You shall have no other gods before me. Before God ever issues a single restriction, he establishes his credentials in Exodus 20, verse 2. I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. This is a massive historical myth-buster. The law of God does not begin with performance. It begins with the deliverance. God didn't give Israel rules so they could earn their freedom. He gave them rules because he had already set them free. The relationship establishes the regulation. To understand the radical nature of this first command, we have to look at the ancient Near East. Every nation around Israel was polytheistic. They worshipped a massive pantheon of localized gods, Ra in Egypt, Baal in Canaan. These gods were transactional. You gave them sacrifices, and they gave you rain or military victory. Into this fragmented spiritual economy, the voice from the fire speaks an absolute clause. You shall have no other gods before me. He isn't claiming to be the chief god among many. He's declaring that the others are nothing but empty smoke. The original Hebrew text uses a highly intense phrase here, Al-Panay. It doesn't just mean before me on a chronological list. It literally means in my face, against my presence, or in my sight. God is saying, you shall not introduce an alternative loyalty right in front of my eyes. Because God is omnipresent, any idol you harbor, any secret devotion you coddle is an act of open defiance committed directly in the throne room of the Almighty. It is a violation of the marriage covenant. Here is where we bust the historical distance. You might sit here tonight and say, well, I don't have a golden calf in my living room, so I'm perfectly fine. But the New Testament updates the software. Idolatry is not a matter of geography. It is a matter of priority. An idol is anything you look at and say, if I have this, I have value. If I lose this, my life is over. It is your career drive, your financial safety net, your social status, or even your family comfort. We have traded stone statues for digital profiles and stock portfolios, but the functional dependency remains exactly the same. How does this find its ultimate fulfillment in Christ? Throughout the history of Israel, the nation failed this commandment over and over again, chasing after foreign gods. But when Jesus steps into human history, he becomes the first and only human being to perfectly execute the first commandment. In the wilderness of temptation, when Satan offers him all the kingdoms of the world in exchange for a single moment of misaligned worship, Jesus fires back, "Away from me, Satan, for it is written, worship the Lord your God and serve him only." Jesus lived with a 100% uncompromised vertical alignment, making the Father his sole center of gravity. To live out the first commandment under the grace of Christ requires 3 structural alignments. First, ultimate security, admitting that your bank account is a tool, but God alone is your provider. Second, ultimate identity, tearing down the idols of career validation or human approval. And third, ultimate direction, ensuring that the voice of King Jesus overrides every competing ambition in your life. The number is 1. God does not share his glory with a committee, and he does not accept a split custody arrangement over your soul. You cannot serve both God and money. When we try to blend the kingdom with our personal pantheon of idols, our spiritual authority instantly drops to 0. Exclusivity is the very oxygen of covenant faith. Let's run an honest diagnostic check on our ledger tonight. Who is sitting on the primary throne of your heart? Are you operating as a functional polytheist, using Christian vocabulary at church, but relying on your own intellect and stockpiled resources when the pressure hits? Are you running an Al-Panay compromise, harboring secret habits right in the face of the living God? Or are you a Christ-anchored disciple, someone who has stripped the throne room of all pretenders to let the king rule alone? The metric of covenant stability is absolute. When our deep trust is distributed across created assets, our internal peace remains highly unstable. Maximum spiritual fortifying, 100% core peace, occurs only when we pull our trust off the creation and anchor it exclusively in the Creator. As we bring our opening episode to a close tonight, let's sit before the altar of Sinai. What created thing, what relationship, or what financial status are you holding on to as a non-negotiable anchor for your life? If losing it would destroy your identity, it has become your God. It's time to dethrone the pretenders. Let's hand over the crown to Christ, clean out the temple of our hearts, and worship Him alone. Thank you for watching. In our next episode, we will look at the second commandment, breaking the architecture of idols. See you in the studio. It is all about Jesus.